In this weekly PowerCity live stream, we're going to be getting into the latest in the crypto DeFi space along with our PowerCity dApps. So with no further ado, let me bring up my partner in crime, Mr. Just Ask Jesse in the house.
Hey, y'all.
Good to see you, man. Good to see you. We've had quite a change in the crypto markets and especially the Pulse chain ecosystem since we last spoke. I think Bitcoin is down 5% from last week, but Pulse chain seems to be pumping, right?
Pulse chain seems to be pumping. I've noticed a couple popular entities outside of the Pulse chain community who have been tweeting about Pulse chain. For example, there's a guy who calls himself Crypto Face. He's a Bitcoin trader on YouTube. He has lots and lots of followers. But the other day he was on X and he was asking about Hex and about Pulse chain and how to get in because he thinks it might have bottomed, right? So, when somebody like that is talking about getting in and they have lots of followers, he's kind of showing confidence to all those other people. So I'm sure a bunch of his followers jumped in. There is money flowing into Pulse chain. So we'll see where it goes. Now combine that with, the broader markets. Yeah, Bitcoin's down a little bit this week, but they've done kind of good over the past several weeks with the interest rates going down in the traditional markets. Normally you see some pumping in crypto when that happens, and we saw a little bit of that as well.
So what do you think? I mean, obviously this is all speculation. For you, is the bull on, or is this just a little pump in between when the bull market might be coming back? Some are saying later this year, some are saying early next year.
I'm not, I don't know. Right. I think we are probably about as close to a bottom as we're going to get, so whether this is a real fast bull run like we saw a few years back in the ETH markets, who knows? Maybe this one's just a long, sustained, slow, sideways, a little bit up, sideways, a little bit up over a couple of years. I have no idea.
Yeah, well, we'll find out. But it's nice to see, significant, green candles as well. Not at 1 or 2%. We've got Pulse chain up over 20% at the time of filming. Hex up 56%. PLSX up 30%. And Ink up nearly 24%. So when it starts to run, and hopefully the community can enjoy it and get along for once, even for a few days, right?
Now the sub altcoins are also kind of riding that wave as well, right? And now when I say something like sub alt, what does that mean? Well, some people would call Pulse chain an altcoin, right? People like to consider Bitcoin and ETH, the main coins, and then altcoins, stuff like Matic and Pulse chain and whatnot. Well, Pulse chain's its own ecosystem, and it also has tokens and protocols and projects, inside of Pulse chain. So if we call those sub altcoins, for example, Earn with Earn protocol, Flex with Flex protocol and stuff, these tokens are paired to Pulse and PulseX and Hex and whatnot. So as the value of Pulse or PulseX or Hex goes up, the value in the pools increases, the TVL and the protocols goes up. The value of each of the sub alt tokens also goes up. They ride together. They move together because they're all paired together.
Well, like you said, most people think of Bitcoin and Ethereum as the blue chips, right? They're the kind of blue chips and the market leaders, and everything altcoins compared to that. That being said, you could also say there are sub blue chips or blue chips in different ecosystems, like Pulse chain has its own blue chips. And talking about that, I want to bring a tweet up that I saw you respond to. And this hexagon was talking about how Jesse taught me that you should never sell your blue chip, good quality yield generating assets, especially when the tech is still in early stages with a massive upside potential compared to other investments. And you responded But maybe we could touch on this because, it goes back to the fundamentals of earn and flex and liquid loans.
For a number of years, I've advocated that just simply not selling is the way to go. In fact, Richard said the same thing throughout the years. Richard's always said that the best way to make money in crypto is either be a founder or hold, get in early and hold for a long time. And you don't always even have to get in early. You just have to hold for a long time. You weren't early to Amazon, say 10 years ago. Amazon's been around longer than 10 years now, right? But if you bought Amazon 10 years ago, you'd still be way up because you decided to hold for 10 years, right? So there's an example. Some things that are just really good products, such as Amazon, or such as maybe a new blockchain like Pulse Chain or something, or Earn Protocol. I don't know, not financial advice. These things that are good products that are set up to last for a long time, if you hold them for a long time, you may see some value increase, after holding for a long time. You'll see a lot of dips along the way, but perhaps the trend might start, might be up over a long period of time. Now, take ETH or Bitcoin, for example. If you got in early to Bitcoin and it did a 10x and then you sold, cool. Congratulations. You invested $100 and you turned it into $1,000. You made money. Congratulations. Good on you. Right. However, if you had held that and not sold it, right, and you held it for 10, 12, 14 years, you would have million something x'd your investment. So if you had $100 in Bitcoin when it first came out, what times that by a million, you have $100 million worth of Bitcoin. Okay, so holding for a long period of time a good asset that ends up appreciating, holding it is the way to go, even though you're tempted along the way to sell. You're like, oh, I'm up 10x, I want to take some profits. You hear that a lot. Take some profits. You'll even hear people say, take out your initial and then the rest is a free ride, right? Oh, once you do a 2x, take out your initial and you have some, you have half the amount of coins, but they were free essentially. And then you ride those for a long time. That's super tempting. It is, because you're looking at your account and you say, look, I'm way up. I want to take profits. But every time you take profits, your coin count is getting smaller. The quantity of coins you have gets smaller and smaller and smaller. So your ability for future price appreciation also gets smaller. So you may go through a 2x and take out half your money, but now you only have half the coins. So to get another 2x out of your initial is twice as hard. And if it goes up, say 4x, and now you take out half your money again, and you keep doing that, it actually becomes exponentially harder to actually keep taking profits because your coin count keeps shrinking. Now there's a way to fix that for yourself. And that's simply don't sell. So you have the option to just sit on it for a long time, wait for years, 5, 10 years, and hopefully the thing you're holding is worth a lot more at the end of the 10 years. And then you say, wow, this is way too much money, and you take profits. Now it could go the other way, right? None of this is financial advice, but we're talking the likes of what Hex did, what Bitcoin did, what ETH did, okay, what a lot of blue chip type things did, lending protocols, stablecoin protocols, all these things did really, really well over a number of years, okay? Now, how do you fight the temptation to sell? When something goes through a 2x or a 10x or something, how do you fight that temptation of reducing your coin count? Yeah, cool. Taking profits into stable coins and then into cash or whatever. Okay, cool. But how do you fight that temptation so that you can keep your coins and whatever appreciation they do, you can still capture that in the future? And the answer is very simple. And you see it in Maker protocol, you see it in Liquidity, you see it in liquid loans, you see it in Earn protocol, you see it in Flex. And that's simply collateralize. Take a loan out against your asset. And this is something that is not uncommon in the housing markets, in construction industries, and all sorts of places. Business owners will say, look, I don't want to sell my business, or I don't want to sell my ball team. I don't want to sell my equipment. I don't want to sell these houses, but I want to put some money to work. I want to capture and keep the appreciation value that these things I own might have over time, because things tend to get more expensive over time. I want to keep that, but I need some cash flow. Okay. And what they do is they simply put up these items as collateral. They say, here's one of my homes. It's collateral. It still belongs to me, but you have a lien against it. The bank has a lien against it. So that if you default on your loan, okay, cool, they can come and take your house. But you still kept the loan. So even in that case, you didn't really lose anything. They gave you the money up front, right? It was almost like you sold the house. Right. So it's a way to protect yourself almost. And you can do these things in crypto protocols that I mentioned. So in like Earn protocol, if you like PulseX and you think it's going to appreciate a lot, and it is appreciating, by the way, instead of selling that thing, if you want to keep it, keep it. But if you need the money, or you would like to put some of that value to work for you, trying to capture other value here and there, all you got to do is take a loan out against it. Take a loan out. Now you have some stable coins. All right. Some of that PulseX is locked up backing that loan. Not all of it. Right. You can put up as much collateral as you want. The system only demands that the actual value is preserved. Right. So if you took a $5,000 loan, only, just over $5,000 worth of PulseX is actually what you can't take out unless you paid back some loan. So, but now you have some cash, and you can go and you can buy your groceries with it, or you can put that into a different protocol, pair some stable coins together and earn a yield off of that until you get bored of that or whatever. And then you just pay back your loan. Okay. You make some money over here as a liquidity provider with stable coins. If you don't like doing that, you simply draw out your stable coins, pay back your stable coins, get your PulseX back. Okay, it's such a simple concept. And people worry about liquidations, but the fact is, the way these systems work, you have all of the value up front. It's not the same as a liquidation on like an exchange where you can lose all your money. It's almost like, oh, okay, you've got something worth $100, we're going to give you $100. And if that thing that you had us hold on to, and we're not holding on, it's all a trustless protocol, by the way, but the protocol is going to hold on to $100 worth of your collateral. And if your collateral value were to go down, yes, you're going to lose your collateral. Why? Because you already got the $100. You didn't actually lose anything. It would be considered almost like a sale at that point, but you had a really good stop loss because obviously the markets were going down. Right now, you can actually buy back in cheaper and have more coins than you started with. Right. So there's things you can do to get value out of what you own. It helps the price because less people are selling. It doesn't shrink your coin count because you're not taking profits and shrinking your coin count every time you do that. There's just a ton of benefits for not selling and just taking a loan out against your thing instead. There's unlimited upside potential and very, very minor downside potential.
Well, it's good to go over these points, especially as we see the increase in PulseX and Hex over the last week. And, when the bull market returns at some point, fingers crossed, then obviously we will see more price appreciation and therefore that, seeing that asset that's used as collateral rise, you're seeing bigger TVL, you're seeing more people using the system because obviously they believe that asset's going to keep on going up. And like you said,
yeah.
Retaining ownership is sorry.
Yeah, let me mention this. before I lose my train of thought on that, as your collateral value increases, you can simply mint more stable coins. So let's say you got, $1,000 worth of PulseX in the system, and you've minted, who knows, 500 stable coins or something, right? Maybe that was your ratio. Maybe that's the ratio you liked. Well, if that PulseX doubled in price, now you have $2,000 worth of PulseX in the system. That's not all locked. You can withdraw that. You can mint more stable coins. Maybe you say, oh, wow, it doubled in price. Maybe I'll just double the amount of stable coins I had minted. I had 500 minted. Maybe I'll mint another 500, right? You could just keep doing that behind the price appreciation. And if the markets turn and they go downwards, you have all the stable coins that you've minted. You have just created the world's best stop loss.
Going back to your other point, you talked about, you gave an example at the beginning of this conversation saying, yeah, if you put in $100, you bought $100 worth of Bitcoin, it did a 10x, you sold, you got, you got $1,000, fantastic, you got a 10x. Obviously, we talked about retaining ownership, but also, and this is never financial advice or tax advice, remember, whenever you sell, and it's great, you've made some money, you're in profit, but you've also, depending on where you are, you've triggered some capital gains tax straight away, right, by a sell, where by taking a loan out, you're getting liquidity, the same as selling, right? But you're not triggering, you're not going to trigger that capital gains tax by taking a loan out. It's different. And the rich have been doing this for centuries, right?
Yeah,
Decades.
So you get a loan from the bank, you put up collateral and then take a loan from a bank. Guess what? That's a loan. That's not taxable. That's not income. That's not capital gain. It's neither. You didn't sell anything. There's nothing that you sold this for that. The original thing is still in your possession, actually. And the same thing happens in Earn Protocol, Flex Protocol, Liquid Loans, Maker, all these things, right? You're locking up some collateral. You still own it. It's still your smart contract. You never disposed of it. And all you're doing is minting against that a loan. And historically, loans are not taxed, right? Because it would be silly, actually, to tax that. Because what happens if you're liquidated? But that is considered a sale. What, are you going to pay taxes twice on the same money? Right? That's ridiculous. So it's borrowed money. Now in these systems, though, the repayment terms are all on you. There's no you have to pay back a certain amount every month or anything like that. It's on you. As long as the collateral is in the system backing it, that's all the system cares about.
Yep. So Earn and Flex Protocol running flawlessly. Not only, obviously, can you take a loan, which is obviously a good option, but let's just look at the stable coins of both protocols staying steady. PXDC, $1, a hair over $1. Flex, let's have a look at this. Pretty much the same. So over collateralized stable coins, more collateral backing the stable coins than that's actually been minted. So, it's completely different to stable coins where people are hoping that there's going to be something there when they redeem, like we saw with Luna, some other things in the Pulse chain ecosystem too. And also we saw a stable coin forked over that obviously was exploited and went down quite a bit recently, right?
Yeah, absolutely. These are fresh fresh builds, fresh forks, started over at zero with no collateral. And the only way to mint stablecoins was to place up the collateral, right? There's always more value in the system than there are stablecoins minted. Right now, in Flex Protocol, the total collateral ratio is 880%. So there's 8.8 times the value of the stablecoins that are minted in the system. There's 648,000 stablecoins minted, but there's $5.7 million worth of hex backing that. Okay, the system always stays that way. That number will fluctuate. That 880% may go to 900. It could go to as low as 150. And there's things the system does once it goes below 150 to actually pop it back up over 150. Goes into a safety mode,
Mm.
saying, wait, we can't let people take loans at less than 150%, only more than 150% from this point forward until it's back over 150, as one example.
Yeah. So we've got, Flex and Earn running flawlessly. Choose your stable coins carefully as well. I mean, not all stable coins are created equal. We've got a question also here from Chris. He said he's been out the loop a little bit, but he's wondering what's going on with Pixel Park.
Yeah, Pixel Park is our biggest build, and it's taken. We've been at this for well over a year, coming up a year and a half or so now. This is a huge build. We just recently brought on some new devs with a company that we've commissioned to help us do some things inside the code. There were some things that we decided to strip out, and some things that are being added. And yeah, we will have to go back to audit, even though we've already been audited. We're making some. We didn't think it was ready for the market the way it was. We were unhappy with a couple things, so we're changing some things, and we're going to go back to audit. Hopefully, here in 2 months or so, we'll be at the point where we can go back to the audit company, and then at that point, we'll start looking at a time to release this. But yes, it's still in the cards. It's still very important to us. We have devs working on this thing every day, but you're not going to see it in the next week.
It's coming. It's coming. So thanks for your time, Jesse. Good to come on here and have some good news, some green candles, some big green candles in the Pulse Chain ecosystem, and to touch on some of the fundamentals of Earn and Flex, which I think people who are interested in using their assets like Hex, like PulseX as collateral to become au fait with that before we see a big bull run. But thanks for your time, man, and we will see you next week.
All right. Thank you.
And guys, to check out any of our live dApps, you can find the links in the description box below. Thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next one.